Hi, this is Dennis with Second Chance Tackle. Today I'm going to work on a reel at a viewer request. It's not a full service of the reel. This reel is not functioning. It's not functioning because it doesn't have an anti-reverse. And this is the series of reels that Daiwa made that, just relied on this rubber bumper as a anti-reverse mechanism. And unfortunately, I believe that this one is no longer functional. We'll take a look at it as part of this, but I got a call from a fellow Andy last night. He says he has a similar reel to this that has the axle shaft held in by some clips, and he wasn't sure how to get that oscillation block and clips off. So at his request, I'm doing this video. So we're going to try and do two things. We'll show you how to take the reel apart, how to remove the axle shaft, and if we get a chance towards the end of this, we'll try to determine if the rubber bumper that was kind of popular at the time as a way to operate the spring feature of that anti-reverse dog, well, if that's kind of rotted or melted away, which was so common in these reels. So let's get started. This one is probably the late 1980s, early 1990s. It's a rather large rear drag fishing reel. This is the AB2650, and I got this one from a member of a local fishing club. Says that, well, the reel doesn't have an anti-reverse. So we're going to see if we can't take this reel apart, show you how it was made, how to service the reel in general, and see if we can't fix this anti-reverse issue here. I did go out onto the internet, and I was able to find a schematic, and the schematic indicates that this does have a spring and dog system. Some of those Daiwa reels from that period used a rubber bumper kind of a system, and that one, those things rotted away with the oil. It would degrade the rubber, and after a while the rubber stop was no good any longer. And that just caused a failure, and the parts are not available. So we're going to find out if that's the case here or not. This is a Korean-made reel. As I mentioned, it's a rear drag, and it's kind of unusual in that it has a large capacity to it. Also has a collapsible handle, and I'm going to service the reel, show you how it's made. Before I get started, I want to ask you to subscribe to my channel if you like the art of fishing reel service and repair. I cover all kinds of fishing reels. This one is a rear drag one. I work on the conventional as well as a whole host of different types of reels, bass low profile reels, saltwater trolling reels, just about everything. And I've created quite a library if you're looking for one that you may own that you would like to see how it's serviced. At any rate, subscribing and using that notification will help you to see the current ones that I'm listing, and you may just find there's one that you'd like to watch out there. All right, we're going to start by taking that handle off. That handle was held in place by a side plate screw, and I'm going to put that screw right back into the handle so that I don't lose it. One of the problems with working on older reels is if you find a broken part, or if you drop one and lose a piece, very difficult to get replacement parts for. They were available, for 5 or 10 years, whatever the manufacturer's support was, then they move on to other things. This has a spool that is removed by a push button up top. If you break this, if you can't get that spool off, this is a screw top here holding the button in, and underneath the button there's actually a metal spring like this. When you push it down, it's going to separate, and that's going to allow the spring to move off of this little piece of the post here, the indentation. That's where the spring is held. When you push that button down, it separates and allows you to pull it up, and then when you reattach it, the button pops up, the spring clips on, and that's what holds your spool on. Well, if for some reason this is stuck on and you have a button that won't work, this does come off. You would do it in a counterclockwise manner. Remove that, remove the button, reset the spring, and well, you can get your spool off that way if you need to. Okay, there's 3 screws that are holding this on. A lot of times when you try to date fishing reels, a lot of the clues to dating the reel are the types of case. A lot of this is metal. The screws themselves, and kind of the style or the industrial design of the reel. And all of that says probably the 1990s with this one. Could be the late 80s. There's 3 screws that hold that on. When I take these off, what I want to do is I want to lay them on my desk and make sure that they are all the same size. It does look like I need to adjust the camera focus a little bit, so let's just move that up a little bit there. This is the second of the screws, one more. And we should be able to remove that side case. Sometimes these rear drag fishing reels require you to remove the adjuster. We'll do that in a little bit. I want to put the anti-reverse off to the side here. And let's see if we can't move up and out on the side plate. Those 3 screws are the same, so they're going to go into my tray. That's a metal side plate with a bushing. And let's see if we can't get the main gear out here. No, we're stuck on the main gear. So this is why I wanted to do this reel. We had a viewer tell me that they have a large Daiwa reel and they can't figure out how to get this plate off, the crosswind block, to remove the axle. And there's actually a clip here. There's 2 clips, one top, one bottom. It's not unlike the clips that you'll find on the Shimano bait runners, for example, the early ones. But this one does not have the little hook clip. It has these 2 C-clips that hold this on. And I'm just trying to move this over to the side so that I can get there. On these C-clips, there's 2 prongs that you need to locate. That's what I'm trying to do right now. These are on pretty tight. And when you locate them, you can push them off. Sometimes you need to use, I use awls or picks. Sometimes you can use a micro screwdriver. The idea is that you want to catch both of those points. I'm going to hold the one side here now, push the other. Yeah, we've got it started. And I know it's hard to see in there for you. It's hard to see in there for me, but I do notice that it came out. And here's that clip we are working on, trying to remove right there. Well, that's going to free up the axle shaft a little bit, but there's one on top and you're not going to be able to remove it all the way. You can see the one on top. I was able to separate that now, get a little bit more movement to this one. And I'm going to try the same thing here, try to pick that out. There you go, that one came out a little bit easier, probably because there was less tension on it, but that's the second one. Again, when you take these pieces and parts off, put them in a safe place, because if you lose those, I'm using a parts tray, if you lose those, well, you're out of luck. Okay, now we should be able to remove the axle shaft by pulling up and out. And when you take the pieces and parts out, make sure that you clean them up, examine them so that you notice if there's any dings or bends or wear that needs to be either cleaned, or in some cases the parts would need to be replaced. These are the 2 grooves that those clips were riding in, and there seemed to have been a little bit of stickiness there, so I'm going to use a 4/0 steel wool here just to buff out the metal and make sure that the old greases are gone. Then I'm going to place that in my parts tray. Next up then is the main gear. That should come out now. Okay, we've removed the axle shaft, and this is to show you why you can't get the main gear out without removing that axle shaft. The axle shaft rides between the smaller gear, which runs the oscillation, and the bigger gear, which turns the pinion gear. So that has to come out. And well, as we said earlier, kind of the intent of this one was to show you how to remove the axle shaft, and the axle shaft being held in with those C-clips. So this reel, I believe, has got the rubber bumper up above, and I think that's probably what's going to be causing the failure. And well, that's a project for another day. The rubber bumpers are no longer available. There is some kind of a spring that you can create to override that, but let's just take a look anyway. Yeah, what we have here for the why this reel failed, this is a rubber bumper that is supposed to operate the anti-reverse, keeping the dog in and out, bumping, if you will. It is held in place by a stud here. I know you can't feel this, but it's completely gummy, and that's well, that's the cause of the failure of this reel. So kind of two sides to this story here. The first one is, why did the reel fail? Well, it failed the anti-reverse because of that bumper. More importantly, it was used to demonstrate how to remove the clips to get the axle shaft off of the reel, so that you could go about doing the basic maintenance on this reel. Well, I hope you've enjoyed that. Again, it was kind of brought to my attention by a viewer who has a different model of this reel, but has the same issue in terms of trying to remove the axle shaft, and I hope that's proved valuable. So, to everybody who's been watching, thank you for your support and your continued viewership, and to our first responders, thank you for the jobs that you do day in and day out. This is Dennis with Second Chance Tackle, wishing everybody a good day.